He said it was 22nd.
How many you
But
got?
he's the
7, I think.
coordinator of that project.
They had an agent today. Well, it won't be tomorrow. I could be wrong.
Well, they
Let me
talked to
send a
Phil,
message out.
and we wanna make sure we talk to Phil and tell him
I
that.
thought I saw it on the account.
Oh, he made a comment to someone, he made, not to me, but he made a
He made it
comment.
in the meeting.
Yeah.
A lot of people,
Did better for this project.
Well,
This project
she's
not
pretty
for
outside of me.
I'm telling you,
Yeah,
that's good enough work.
okay, you ready? Okay, Beth, you ready? Okay. All right, let's open the public hearing in the city of Washington, March 14th, 2022. On the agenda, we got consideration of the confirmatory resolution related to the designation of the economic revitalization area in the city of Washington, Indiana. Is there anybody here that wants to speak on this issue?
Is this for the housing?
Yes.
My name's Jerry Sidebottom, you know who I am. I was just wanting to know where they are. They didn't have to come to this?
No, well, this is public hearing, they're gonna be here for the next meeting, but I thought Brian Niehoff would be here, but, this
I
is,
did too.
yeah, but this is just the confirmatory resolution, but Brian's supposed he was planning on being here. And he
I
will
talked
be-
to him about it, so now I don't have nothing else.
Yeah, this is just one of the other steps,
Yeah, I knew it was,
yeah,
but
yeah.
usually they're here. That's why I was confused.
But Brian's, yeah, I thought Brian would be here too, but I think he'll be here for the council meeting, but where this comes up in the council meeting. Okay, hearing none. And then I'm gonna close this public hearing at 5:32.
6:30.
All right, 6:32, excuse me. Evans old time, yes. I knew that would get me. Okay. All right, let's call this meeting in order. The City of Washington Common Council meeting, March 14, 2022. And we have a moment of silence for our veterans and our COVID-19 victims, please. Thank you. Pledge allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have a roll call, please.
Councilman Lunsford?
Here.
Councilman Brown?
Here.
Councilman Gress?
Here.
Councilman Campton?
Here.
Councilman Emmons?
Here.
Councilman Dahl?
Here.
Councilman Showalter?
Here. Okay, very good. Approval of the minutes of the February 28th, 2022 public hearing regular meeting in front of you tonight. Do you have anybody have any problems or concerns with the minutes that's presented?
I move we approve this.
Okay, Councilman Dahl makes a motion to approve these minutes as written. Councilman Gress seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, we got a written presentation of the claims tonight in front of you. Any questions or concerns? I didn't see any myself.
I didn't see any either. I make a motion that approves it.
Councilman Emmons makes a motion to approve the claims and send them to Board of Works for final approval. Second, Councilman Lunsford seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Comments by the members of the public other than what's on the agenda tonight?
It's me again.
Okay.
Down there at our church, do we have to wait till it gets put into the city before we have a lockbox on the back so the fire department can put one on?
No, you wouldn't have to,
Well,
but the
there
thing
you
is there, if you decide to go ahead, you have to choose county or city because there is different keys, and when you order the box, it gets coded to the key that you want to.
Well, it's,
Yeah.
I think he's supposed to be starting the process
Well,
to get it in the city.
he's talked to me about that
Okay.
process, and that'd be a council thing, and I honestly need to talk to Pete about it, and I need to, the council will have to have a conversation on it, but just taking that church in, being a church like it is, and there's no tax base. And if we take it in, I mean, we can, but we don't have a lot of, there's not a lot of benefit for us to take it in. They're already getting our utilities. And we'll never go, no matter what we do, even if we don't, we're not gonna, fire-wise, we're not gonna leave them stranded. If we have a run, I told the fire department to respond, knowing it's right out, like 100 feet outside our, if not that, outside the city limits. And we'll always check it out, we'll never just not respond. And then when the county gets there, like so many times in the past, we just turn it over to them. I mean, if it came in by the church, we'll never leave them hanging.
If it's not significant.
Well, even if we have doubts, we wanna go
Yeah.
and just cover ourselves,
I
because
was just saying, you don't just get up and leave.
no. Many years ago, something like that happened, and we don't wanna.
Is there any part of that property in the city?
There is just a small
Right there.
portion of it out front there, yes, that is city now. The building is not.
It's 100, what is it, 180 feet from the center of the road, I think.
Yeah,
Give or take,
Something
you know,
like-
yeah, you're in that ballpark.
But-
Yeah, I thought it was.
but you know, a lot of times we take a property in, and because there's, you know,
We usually do a financial test to
sufficient, yes.
whether that
And
benefits
being a church,
to cover it.
there's really not any financial gain.
And
But-
that's usually the test whether we add it in or not.
Yeah, but I will never, I told the fire department, we won't leave them hanging. I mean, if we don't take it in, we'll always give them coverage. But yeah, I need to have that conversation. Pete has called and wanted to talk to me about it, and I looked into it, and I thought about it.
Probably the on city sewer.
Yes,
Yes, they got all the city utilities.
we got all the
They got all our
utilities.
utilities already. The only thing they wouldn't, is fire and police. That police, I think, they handle it the same way probably as we.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've been covered.
They've been
We always-
there.
We always make sure it's covered.
It's a lot faster for us just to cover it and clear than it is Wayne County, so.
Exactly, same way with fire. So, you know, Pete wants to talk about it, but, you know, it's a conversation that council needs to have at a later date. That he needs, you know,
Township does have Knox boxes.
yeah.
Yeah, the township's all the way on the other side of town.
I'm just,
That's why I ask about
Yeah.
that, because why ain't there one of them on the west side?
Yeah, but you can't put, well, you can't buy as a county, a lock box for the county and that city, or, you know, they just don't work because they have no way of getting into it, so,
each department is key.
yeah,
You could put two on
I know we'll bring this up
Yeah.
again, but if it is not city and the police do respond, city police, if you arrest someone there, does that affect the arrest?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
No, we can actually arrest somebody up in Marion County. We just gotta write it to the Marion County courts.
Yeah.
so, yeah, that's a conversation I need to have with Pete, and then council needs, but we'll have it, but like I said, the coverage will never stop.
Did he not have that conversation with you before we built the church?
In around, just in a slight way, but not really.
Really?
He just expressed how he wanted it to be annexed in, you know. I'd like for it to be annexed in after it's built. Well, I'm not gonna I wasn't gonna sit there and say, yes, okay, we're taking it in, because it's a council
Can
decision.
you tell me the benefit for Pete?
Excuse me?
What would the benefit for Pete be?
Benefit for Pete, nothing for Pete.
Quickness and
What are you talking about?
Why does he want the church
annexed.
annexed?
So we can have protection.
That's the benefit, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
What would the benefit be?
Because like I said, where are the volunteer fire departments? All the way across town, all the way across the
We
tracks.
have a key. We have a key.
Yeah, keyless entry.
But no, we'll have, I mean.
That's fine.
But it's a, you know, we could do it for, I guess, just goodwill. I mean, you know, but we'll talk. I need to call Pete tomorrow and talk to him, but then.
I'll talk to him tonight and
He
he'll
probably
probably-
will have to come to council and we'll
Yeah.
have that conversation. Okay.
That's all I was wanting. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. No, it's, we've been, something I've thought about lately. Okay, anything else from the audience? Okay. All right, let's move on to resolutions. Reading the resolution number 5-2022.
I'll make a motion to read that resolution.
Okay, Councilman Campbell makes a motion to read that resolution. Second by Councilman Brown. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Tim?
Resolution number 5-2022, a preliminary resolution of the Common Council of the City of Washington, Indiana, approving real property tax abatement. Simplified Developments LLC, doing business as Rhinebeck Homes. Whereas Simplified Developments LLC and/or any affiliate thereof is pursuing the construction of an apartment project in the City of Washington to be located on the property described in the map attached here to as Exhibit A, and incorporated herein by reference and at the address set forth in Exhibit A. Whereas the company has requested that the real property be designated an economic revitalization area for purposes of permitting real property tax deductions pursuant to Indiana Code 6-1.1-12.1 as amended. And whereas the company has further requested that the Common Council of the City of Washington, Indiana approve a 5-year real property tax deduction schedule for the project. And whereas the company has advised the council that the project will involve significant investment in real property redevelopment or rehabilitation. And whereas the company submitted to the council a Form SB1 Real Properties Statement of Benefits in connection with the project and provided all information and documentation necessary for the council to make an informed decision. And whereas the council is authorized under the provisions of IC 6-1.1-12.1-1 et sec. to designate areas in the town as an ERA for the purposes described herein. And whereas the council has considered the statement submitted by the company and has conducted a complete and proper investigation of the real property and determined that the area qualifies as an ERA under Indiana statutes. And whereas the council has considered the following factors under Indiana Code 6-1.1-12.1-17 in connection with the project. 1, the total amount of the company's investment in real and personal property under the project. 2, the number of new full-time equivalent jobs to be created under the project. 3, the average wage of the new employees under the project compared to the state minimum wage. And 4, the infrastructure requirements for the company's investment under the project. Collectively, the dedication or deduction schedule factors. Now therefore it is found, determined, and resolved by the council as follows. 1, that the estimate of the value of the redevelopment or rehabilitation of the real property is reasonable for projects of that nature. 2, that the value of the construction of improvements as a result of the project creates benefits of the type and quality anticipated by the council within the ERA and can reasonably be expected to result from the proposed project and the redevelopment or rehabilitation of the real property. 3, that the benefits described in the statement can reasonably be expected to result from the proposed redevelopment or rehabilitation of the real property. 4, that the totality of benefits from the proposed redevelopment or rehabilitation of the real property is sufficient to justify a real property tax deduction period and schedule as set out herein. 5, that the deduction schedule factors in connection with the project justify granting the deduction schedule for real property under IC 6-1.1-12.1-17 as specified herein. Now therefore, based on the foregoing, the council further resolves, finds, and determines 1, that all of the conditions for the designation of the ERA and all of the requirements for the tax deductions to be granted hereby have been met, and that the foregoing findings are true and all information required to be submitted has been submitted in proper form. 2, that the statement submitted by the company is hereby approved. 3, that the real property is hereby designated as an ERA pursuant to Indiana Code 6-1.1-12.1-1 et sec. And the company is entitled to real property tax deductions for the proposed redevelopment or rehabilitation of real property as part of the project for a period of 5 years as allowed in Indiana Code 6-1.1-12.1-4 in accordance with the following abatement schedule hereby adopted pursuant to Indiana Code 6-1.1-12.1-17. Basically, the first 5 years of deductions is a 100% abatement. Number 4, a notice thereof should be published according to law stating the following. The adoption and substance thereof, a copy of the description of the affected area is available for inspection in the county assessor's office, and the date on which the council will hear and receive remonstrances and objections and take Final action, all is required by law. 5, that this resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage by the Washington Common Council and such publications as may be required by law. 6, that the council shall cause certified copies of this resolution to be filed with the Daviess County Auditor and the Daviess County Assessor, passed and adopted by the Common Council of the City of Washington, Indiana, this 14th day of March 2022.
Okay. Any questions? Anybody in the audience got any questions or comments? Council?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, a motion approved by Councilman Canton,
I'll second that.
second by Councilman Dahl. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, this resolution is adopted. Okay. Okay. No, that's ready after the tag, okay? Okay. Okay. Okay, while he's finishing signing, we'll go ahead. Reading of Resolution 6-2022.
I'll make a motion.
Motion,
to read that.
Councilman Campbell makes a motion to read this resolution.
Second.
Second by Councilman Gress. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Tim?
Resolution number 6-2022, resolution confirming the designation of an economic revitalization area and approving the deduction from assessed value of new real property improvements. Whereas the Common Council of the City of Washington, Indiana has been requested by Simplified Developments LLC to find pursuant to IC 6-1.1-12.1-2 that an area is an economic revitalization area, which area will contain the project, and whereas the council has prepared a simplified description of the area or maps and plats that identify the area attached as Exhibit A, and whereas the area is located within the jurisdiction of the city for the purposes set forth in IC 6-1.1-12.1-2, and whereas the applicant intends to construct an apartment development on property located as described in the map attached hereto as Exhibit A and incorporated herein by reference, all is described in the statement of benefits submitted by the applicant to the council, and whereas the council has reviewed the statement of benefits, and whereas pursuant to IC 6-1.1-12.1-2, on February 28, 2022, the council adopted a resolution which designated the area as an economic revitalization area pursuant to the act and approved real property tax deductions under IC 6-1.1-12.1-3 for redevelopment or rehabilitation in the area for 5 years. And whereas in compliance with IC 6-1.1-12.1-2.5, the council published notice describing the adoption and substance of the declaratory resolution and stating that on March 14, 2022, the council will hold a public hearing at which it will receive and hear all remonstrances and objections from interested persons with respect to the declaratory resolution. And whereas in compliance with IC 6-1.1-12.1-2.5, the council filed with each taxing unit that has authority to levy property taxes in the area a copy of the notice and the statement of benefits. And whereas in compliance with IC 6-1.1-12.1-2.5, on March 14, 2022, the council held a public hearing at which it received, heard, and considered evidence concerning the declaratory resolution and any remonstrances or objections with respect to the declaratory resolution. And whereas pursuant to IC 6-1.1-12.1-2.5, the council desires to take final action confirming the declaratory resolution. Now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Washington, Indiana, that Section 1, the council hereby finds that the area is within the city and the area has become undesirable for or impossible of normal development and occupancy because of a lack of development, cessation of growth, deterioration of improvements or character of occupancy, age, obsolescence, substandard buildings, or other factors which have impaired values and prevented a normal development of property and use of property. Section 2, the area is hereby declared to be an economic revitalization area pursuant to IC 6-1.1-12.1, the period for real property tax deductions under IC 6-1.1-12.1-3 for redevelopment or rehabilitation in the area shall be 5 years. Section 3, based on the information in the statement of benefits describing the project, the council makes the following findings. Excuse me. That the estimate of the value of the redevelopment or rehabilitation of the real property is reasonable for projects of that nature. B, that the estimate of the number of individuals who will be employed or whose employment will be retained as a result of the proposed development or rehabilitation of the real property can reasonably be expected to result from the proposed redevelopment or rehabilitation of the real property. C, that the value of the acquisition and construction of improvements as a result of the project creates benefits of the type and quality anticipated by the council within the area and can reasonably be expected to result from the proposed redevelopment or rehabilitation of the real property. B, that the benefits described in the statement of benefits can reasonably be expected to result from the proposed redevelopment or rehabilitation of the real property. E, that the totality of benefits from the proposed redevelopment or rehabilitation of the real property is sufficient to justify a 5-year real property tax deduction period. Section 4, based on the information in the statement of benefits and the foregoing findings, the council pursuant to IC 6-1.1-12.1 hereby approves and allows the applicant real property tax deductions for 5 years as set forth in Section 5 for the redevelopment located in the area. Section 5, with respect to the real property, the percentage of deductions for each of said 5 years will be as follows, each of the 5 years at 100% abatement. Section 6, the council hereby confirms the declaratory resolution and the actions set forth in this resolution are final, except for the limited rights of appeal provided under IC 6-1.1-12.1-2.5. Section 7, each of the mayor and the clerk treasurer is hereby authorized to make all filings necessary or desirable, and to take all other necessary actions to carry out the purposes and intent of this resolution and the deductions approved hereunder. Section 8, this resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after its adoption. Passed and adopted by the Common Council of the City of Washington, Indiana, this 14th day of March, 2022.
All right. Anybody in the audience got any questions or concerns on this resolution? Yeah.
The red line is the area that
And it's the black area.
the black area is.
Yes,
That's the new.
that's the new, yes. The red is the current tip.
With the red line going through the black, I was kind of confused on whether it's a little bit of something out or. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else got any questions? Councilman Grass makes a motion to approve the ordinance,
Seconded.
summary of resolutions, I'm sorry, and second by Councilman Showalter. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution's adopted. Okay, next we have ordinances. We got final reading of ordinance number 4-2022.
I'll make a motion to read that by title only.
Actually, we're gonna ask, to put that off until April the 11th.
Oh, yeah, that's the one, yes.
That
Yeah,
new
yeah, that's
redrafts,
the,
and
yes.
it should be ready to go
That's
by
that
April
one,
11th.
yes. Okay, we'll table this until first meeting of April. All right, ordinance number 5-2022.
Motion to read
Final
that.
reading.
by title
Councilman
only.
Campbell makes a motion to read by title only. Councilman Brown seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Tim?
Ordinance number 5-2022, entitled an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Washington, Indiana, authorizing the issuance of the City of Washington, Indiana Economic Development Revenue Bonds and approving and authorizing other actions in respect thereto.
Okay. Good. Motion to approve the
I
ordinance.
will make that motion.
Councilman Kempton makes a motion to approve. Councilman Shore seconds. Any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Lunsford,
Aye.
Councilman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Gress,
Aye.
Councilman Campton,
Aye.
Councilman Emmons,
Aye.
Councilman Dahl,
Aye.
Councilman Showalter.
Aye.
All right. That ordinance passes. We got, pardon?
I have,
Oh, yeah.
Tom Pittman sent the copy of the trust indenture and financial financing agreement for review from the council.
Yeah, if anybody wants to review those documents, she's got
Got
it.
it last minute, and I have one
She
copy
made
of
a
each.
copy of each there, if anybody wants to review that.
Tim doesn't have to read it.
They are spellbinding.
Riveting.
It's probably, yeah. Okay, all right. Well noted, okay. Okay, we'll move on to final reading of ordinance six dash 2022.
I think it's to read by title only.
Councilman Showalter makes a motion to read by title only. Councilman Campton seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Tim?
Ordinance number 6-2022, an ordinance of the city of Washington, Indiana, designating an area within the city as an economic development target area.
Okay. Motion to approve this ordinance?
I'll make that motion.
Councilman Campton makes a motion to approve the ordinance. Councilman Showalter seconds. Is there any questions, comments? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Councilman Lunsford,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Campton,
Aye.
Councilman Emmons,
Aye.
Councilman Dahl,
Aye.
Councilman Showalter.
Aye.
Okay, this ordinance passes. Okay, final reading of ordinance number 7-2022.
Make a motion to read that.
Okay, Councilman Emmons makes a motion to read this by title only. Councilman Showalter seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Tim?
Ordinance number 7-2022, an ordinance amending section 3 of ordinance number 4-2008, an ordinance establishing a park non-reverting operating fund.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Councilman Campton makes a motion to approve this ordinance. Second, Councilman Lunsford. Any comments or questions? Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Lunsford, Councilman Brown,
Aye.
Councilman Gress, say aye.
Aye.
Councilman Campton,
Aye.
Councilman Emmons,
Aye.
Councilman Dahl,
Aye.
Councilman Showalter.
Aye.
All right, that's, ordinance will be approved. Okay, finally, we got introduction of ordinance number 8-2022.
I'll make a motion to read that ordinance.
Okay, Councilman Campton makes a motion to read this ordinance. Second by Councilman Brown, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Tim?
Ordinance number 8-2022, an ordinance for additional appropriation from ARP Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund. Whereas it has been determined that it is now necessary to appropriate more money than was originally appropriated in the annual budget. Now, therefore, section 1, be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Washington, Indiana, Daviess County, that for the expense of the taxing unit, the following additional sums of money are hereby appropriated out of the funds named and for the purposes specified, subject to laws governing the same. Fund 2476, ARP Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, the major budget classification of 690 other capital outlays, the amount requested $2,833,831.36. The amount to be approved by the fiscal body is the same amount. The total for Fund 2476 is $2,833,831.36, with the same amount to be approved by the fiscal body. Passed and adopted by the Common Council of the City of Washington, Daviess County, Indiana, this 28th day of March, 2022.
Okay, any questions on this? This is the ARPA money we have, and we want to do additional appropriation just to get it ready in case we need to use it.
So
We have
this, so we're not applying for this, this is the money we already have.
Yes, yes, this is our money that we've got,
Permission to spend it.
Right.
yeah.
And we got $5,300 and some dollars more, just because the other, some of the smaller communities did not apply for it, and this is a portion of the grant. So the state split it up by percentage to the rest of the have 1,414,000 plus this 5,000. We will get the remainder then in July.
And then we have a committee that'll meet and still discuss how we, spend this money.
So have
use
the
this money.
guidelines been put out?
There's better guidelines now than there used to be, yes. They came out with the final act and,
Quite a bit broader.
yeah, it's a lot, they've got more down in better terms.
And the 690 will allow you, if you a bigger range.
Yeah, it's, for whatever we use it for, it'll be an appropriate category.
If I may add, oh, I'm sorry, just, we're working with the county on their ARPA funds, and according to the final rule that was issued by the Department of the Treasury, any community can claim up to 10 million in terms of government services, so that's anything that government can justify spending funds on. Of course, it has to be tied back to the coronavirus, though, to COVID-19 and the community's response to it. So that is something that we did seek some clarification on from Baker Tilly in working with the county. So their advice to us is just any way that the community spends it, paper the heck out of it is the words that they use. So, but anyway, that's, as Tim mentioned, it is much more broad and accessible for communities like ours.
And this is the step we have to take to get her, prepare ourselves.
Was this the same one that there was talk there one time about the employees giving them something out of this, or?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things you can do with it, you know. There was a premium pay, they called it, at one time. It's in there. Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, this will be up for adoption at the next council meeting. Okay, other business? Anybody in the audience got anything else for the council tonight? Yes, sir.
Since we established the new fund for the park, Alan, what's your thought of transferring that money that you deposited in there for the food trucks, that donation?
That would be the,
How do we go about, Beth, of getting that transferred over to that account?
I'd rather it be in there so we can use it for
Use
events.
it for what we've made that for.
I mean, it should be, I think it was around $1,200 some dollars.
Right.
Okay,
It'd be easier to use than that.
she'll look into that. Get with
You
it.
donated that much too.
Yeah, it's probably in September, October.
I'll have to look into it and I'll send you an email.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions for the council on that? Okay, hearing none, Councilman Gress, you got anything for us tonight?
Everything good tonight?
Councilman Dahl?
I do not have anything.
Councilman Miller?
Parks Department did a great job of cleaning up the damage from the trees, and the roadway looks good.
Thank you.
Other than that, I have nothing.
Yeah, it's coming along. Councilman Brown? Tim, you got anything?
I know.
Councilman Kempner?
I have none.
Councilman Emmons? Thank you. Councilman Lunsford? Beth?
No?
All right. Hearing nothing else, this meeting's adjourned. Board of Public Works and Safety in 5 minutes.
everybody.
Let's call the City of Washington Board of Public Works and Safety meeting, March 14, 2022 to order, please. First thing, we have the approval of minutes of the February 28, 2022 regular meeting in front of you. You have any questions or concerns about these minutes? Councilman Dahl makes a motion to approve as written.
I'll second.
Councilman Ash seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Discussion and approval of the claims submitted in front of you tonight.
I'll move to approve the claims.
Okay, Councilwoman Nash makes a motion to approve the claims.
Second.
Councilman Dahl seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Discussion and approval of agreement with Midwestern Engineer Incorporated for the wastewater treatment plant improvement project. This was presented to me, and I agreed with Councilman Dahl that it would need to come before this board for approval. We have Richard Birch here tonight with Midwestern. If you have any questions for him, or if you'd like to say anything on this.
Well, we've been involved at the wastewater treatment plant on various issues as far as managing the sludge and things of that nature. And there's definitely some things that the city needs to consider. Electrical improvements is something that's been talked about for years. It's probably, with the quality of electrical, we're looking at the main line on the road. We're working with the city on it to make sure it is a good quality electric. But it's caused some issues with equipment, potentially, we think. Your SBR, which is the treatment unit for Purdue, is basically not operating at this point, and that needs to be addressed. And so the electrical and the SBR are things that need to be done. The controls, you have various age of controls there, working with various ways. And Councilman Gress just asked me, do we need to do the controls? No, but some of them are 20-some years old, they're outdated, they're antiquated, and it's probably a time if you're going to bring them up to today's standard and even how the controls operate. They're talking about putting fiber in, it's something you ought to consider. In a nutshell, that's what these improvements are addressing at the wastewater treatment plant.
Some electronics and controls I put in when I was younger.
Yeah.
In the list
How
of,
many years ago is it?
You know what I'm talking about.
yeah, a long time, and the list of stuff we have that really it needs, this just allows us to put it out to bid.
And that's the next thing, you know, well, do you piecemeal it, or do we, and it just kept on growing and growing, and the thought was, you're gonna need a contractor to put the new equipment in the SBRs. And the recommendation was, we'll do the plans and specs on it, get bids, and then you can decide, you know, we can set it up to where if you don't wanna do the controls, for whatever reason, you can drop those out potentially. But the SBR
Yeah, that was half.
needs to be done.
Yeah, that was half the price on the SBRs of the whole project. And then electrical was gonna get done in 2017 when I did some research on it. It didn't get done, but now it's doubled in price or more. And it really needs to be addressed, including a new generator for that upper pump house and by the whole facility. And then, yeah, we've done some small stuff already since since this past 6 months. We've replaced some pumps and did some things under our operation budget. But the bottom line is the wastewater budget, they just don't have it for all this kind of numbers.
The other thing is, why now? Well, the lead times on some of this is the way things are now. Well, if you start today, our intent is to have, I think, bids this summer. You're looking at the fall of 2023, hopefully, knock on wood, that we can get the equipment.
Yeah.
And get it installed and up and going, so.
Just the generator itself, they told us that we ought to look into this because they're talking about, 52 months leeway. Or weeks, probably, not months, probably weeks.
Obviously.
Yeah, hopefully the months be really a lot. But yeah, there's so many things that, and this plant has got some age on it, and there's so many things that need to be done, but SBR price is the most important one.
So is there a halfway estimate of what we're looking at if we did the whole project?
We got, yeah, roughly.
Um,
I mean, we have numbers,
The
yeah,
estimated project cost is $1,695,000
for everything,
for everything.
Everything.
yeah.
Yeah. And that has contingencies in it and has our fees in it.
Right.
Yeah, that's everything. Yeah, well, yeah. So this just allows us to put it out for bids because it needs to be done, so then we can talk about it more.
I move we approve it.
I'll second that, but I have another question. So, somewhat related, not related. Sewer rate study, is that anywhere?
Well, they're still, we haven't got
So
the
are
finish.
they gonna put this into that?
We told them about it,
Okay.
but we also don't really, might not want to do it that way because we also might look at this ARPA money, possibly.
Okay.
I mean, look at it, but I don't know if but we did tell them about this, so they can kind of, but we haven't got those final numbers back yet.
Seems like that's been going on a long time.
It has been, seems like, and we've touched base with them, but, yeah.
Yeah, I'm,
Okay, Councilman Dahl makes a motion to approve this agreement, and Councilwoman Nash seconds, all in favor? Opposed? Okay, thank you, Richard.
Mayor, while I'm
Yes.
talking wastewater, can I bring up one other item?
Sure.
Your growth on the east side, and I've been, even when Mayor Wellman was here, I know back in 2017, we were talking about an east side wastewater treatment plant. The only reason I bring that up, I think the city's to the point to where we need to start considering moving on at least finding some property for that plant. And also submitting the necessary paperwork to IDEM to get the waste load allocations to make sure we can discharge. And with the city building a second plant, if that's what happens, we gotta go through a process, it's called anti-degradation, to justify why you're gonna have a second wastewater discharge. We've done it, and it can be done, but it's just a process. And so I just wanna bring that up, I think it's something, we've talked, and I've met with some landowners,
I mean,
and
did we
nothing's
have a
really
spot
happened.
picked out for that?
We've had spots,
I mean, it seems like we talked
yeah,
about,
we've had spots, and we've talked with landowners, and I don't wanna specifically say which ones, but, we've just been chasing our tail. And I think it's to the point to where with what's happening in the city, to position you in the next year, 2, 3, 4, whatever, we need to be in front of that as far as having a site, so you can address the growth. And it will relieve some of the work that your existing plant has and the load that it's getting. We can transfer some of that off of it and get some additional capacity there. So I just want to bring it up. I've talked to the mayor, and the mayor and I can work on this some more, but while I'm here, I just think you're to the point we need to strongly start pursuing.
Yeah, and this past week, I came up with, just another piece of property that we're gonna look into to see if it's even possible to do. Don't even know, so we haven't had no luck with the other property we've been trying to pursue. So there's another piece that came up, and I'm gonna have Rich, and we're gonna talk and look and see if it's even doable.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
And thank you for allowing us to continue work for the city.
Thank you, appreciate it. And then moving on, discussion approval of a crop lease agreement, track 1 and track 2 with Arms Boys. We did put this out for bid, and we did award this lease agreement to the Arms Boys.
It looks fine to me, I recommend you approve it.
Councilman Dahl makes a motion to approve this lease with them, which is a 3-year lease, I believe. And
2 leases, isn't it?
two tracks.
there's 2 tracks. One, just, one lease, 2 tracks. Yeah, and Councilwoman Ash seconds the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yeah. Both tracks at the same amount of money. Okay, very good. And last, we have open quotes received on the 2022 sidewalk and curb replacement program and general concrete work for the city of Washington. All right, first bid is from Hard Rock Concrete. Does contain a properly executed non-collusion affidavit, certificate of liability insurance. All right, the bid then is sidewalk 4 inches, $2.90. I guess is that square foot, SFT? Yeah. Integral sidewalk and straight curb 4 inch, $3.80. SFT 88 curb ramps 4 inches, $3.65 SFT. Residential driveway crossing 6 inch, $2.90 SFT. Industrial commercial driveway crossing 8 inch, $2.90 SFT. Straight curb, $13 lineal foot. Rolled curb and gutter, $12 per lineal foot. Combined curb and gutter, $12 per lineal foot. And standard lip gutter, $12 per lineal foot. So that's the extent of their bid. And one other bid here.
And that was all wrong.
Yes. That was Hard Rock, yes. And this bidder is Rivertown Construction LLC out of Newburgh, Indiana. It does contain a properly executed non-collusion affidavit. All right, sidewalk, 4 inch, $4.05 SFT. Integral sidewalk and straight curb 4 inch, $7.25 SFT. ADA curb ramp, $9.30 SFT. Residential driveway crossing, $6 inches, $4.20 SFT. Industrial commercial driveway crossing 8 inches thick, $5.90 SFT. A straight curb, $24 per lineal foot. Rolled curb and gutter, $24 per lineal foot. Combined curb and gutter, $24 per lineal foot. And standard lip gutter, $24 per lineal foot. That appears to be their bid. Buddy, I didn't get those all wrote down, so what do you think, Jonathan, on those two comparisons?
Is that the only two bids we have?
Yes, yes, yes.
The closest one, we're still looking at $1.15 difference between Hard Rock and this Rivertown, I believe you said?
Rivertown, that's the one that kind of worked on this highway project.
Hard Rock is here in town. We never know how many projects we're gonna have.
Yeah.
We don't know when we're gonna get to do them.
We used them quite a bit last year.
It is, I will say, now being in it 2 years, it is easier to have a guy here locally, but
Have you been happy with their work?
we have been, yeah.
I don't think we've ever had to have them go back and redo anything, not on their not at least they're not their fault, but,
Right.
you know.
When one the customer didn't quite understand, had to go fill in a little bit, but
Yeah, yeah.
that was a different, project on that one, but, yeah, I mean, he fits us in when he can, and it's usually, if he's finishing up one that's not city related, he'll shoot some guys over to help, get one going, so. It's been a good workable, relationship for the 2 years I've been here.
Any words of the low bidder?
Okay, make a motion to award the bid to Hard Rock Concrete by Councilman Dahl, second by Councilman Nash, All in favor? Opposed? Okay, thank you. Okay, anything from the audience for the Board of Works tonight? Anybody got anything? Okay. Okay, and you got anything else for us? David?
I do not.
Tim, you got anything for the Board of Works?
I do not.
Beth? Okay, hearing none, this means adjourned.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.